This is a Pyramid One International Network presentation.
Gentlemen, star family Agartha neighbors, sentient beings from all dimensions in time and space, the psychedelic dolphin man, the man with a plan, a super soldier for the light, a legend in his own mind, a true healer with hands of light and a golden touch, the world's most sincere radio host, broadcasting from Earth inside the mothership to the galactic central sun. The voice of the resistance is Divine Grace Sri 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 Rob Potter.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Victor of Light radio show. Once again, I'm your host, Rob Potter, and I have another wonderful guest on that we've had on before, Dr. Leonard Horowitz. And I am going to get to some new guests, folks. I know it's been a while since we've had Len on, and my radio shows, as you've noticed, are kind of intermittent. Sometimes I'm traveling. I was down in Bolivia for a bit, as you know, and now I've just moved into Mount Shasta, getting very busy with my Mount Shasta Summer Conference from Venus with Love. We're sending out all kinds of invitations. I signed up for an email newsletter. So for those of you who signed up and you're going to get some emails from me, if you haven't signed up on my website, we'll add you in there eventually. But we have an email list. And I'm going to be sending out newsletters with promotions and stuff. And as most of you know, I'm not the greatest computer guy. I'm a little slow, but we're going to get some good offers out for you, especially in the realm of some of the technology that I work with, lasers and crystals, and of course the scalar and tachyonization of those crystals and Sintamani stones. I have a series of articles on my website with an amazing new contactee named Raymond Keller. I've changed the look of my blog so you can access my older blogs easily by looking. But if you go back the last 3 months here with Raymond Keller, he's producing a tremendous volume of information with his 3 books about Venus, Venus Rising, Rockets to Venus, and Cosmic Rays Excellent Adventure. He's working on 2 more books simultaneously. And some of the information that Raymond is sharing is at another level. It is really another step in contact and communication with our space family. And so with Raymond's information out and some of his experiences to absolutely blow your mind, we are reaching a new level of contact beyond Valiant Thor. When he released his first 2 books at a small light center near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 2 Venusians beamed down, and you can see their picture in my archive blogs. 2 women from Venus beamed down. They announced themselves. They congratulated Ray, and actually one of them gave him a manuscript of a book she wrote while she was on Earth. We're understanding translation or ascension process that is taking place with people, especially with women. He's coming out with an article about Joseph Smith and the understanding of the Plamora, or what some people call the heavens, and the administration, or gods versus God. And I'm writing a treatise on that, comment on his article. And I just have to tell you, he is one of the nicest, kindest guy, along with Dr. Frank Stranges, who is a contactee from Venus. We're going to have Omnek there. We're also going to have Louis Martens, my contactee from Bolivia, and we'll be sharing some information from the inner retreats of the Great White Brotherhood, and be talking about, as I've talked about for a long time, the moving forward of interplanetary cultural exchange, which will start with us to understand our Agarthan, or the inner Earth neighbors, who've kind of remained aloof from us and separate due to our inability to grasp basic spiritual concepts of brotherhood and love. So we're going to be sharing all this. Sherry Lynn, George Fiedler, Major George Fiedler, head of the MUFON network. We're going to have Frank Chile, a wonderful contactee. Genesee Roy, an amazing woman. She wrote a book, 94 Days, 12 Planets and One Soul. She was taken in multiple dimensions. She is absolutely a beautiful woman. She has 2 kids, totally together, totally grounded, no woo-woo space new age stuff for her. She talks about chakras. She's written her own oracle deck, and she is a spot-on psychic. She can read your energies like nobody's business. So Genesee Roy is another next level of contactee coming forward. We also have Ralph and Marcia Ring, who worked with Otis Carr, whose spaceship was actually witnessed by James Gillen when he was a young kid. So there's a lot of amazing people coming at my conference that you should definitely be checking out. That's July 27th to the 29th. If you've got an invitation, or you go to my website, you click on the first banner, it's going to take you to Eventbrite. I'll be keeping up to date with you with all kinds of updates. We're still working on some food stuff. It's going to be a great event in Shasta. We've moved our venue. We're not at Shasta Camp anymore. So even though we don't have camping, if you don't have money, don't worry about it. There are waterfalls and campsites within 6 miles of the event, all around for free. It won't be on the same location, and we won't be doing breakfast, but you can camp over there. And we have a beautiful venue with plenty of room. And we're going to have vendors, some healing technologies, lasers demonstrations, music. We're going to have sky watches. It's a chock-full event. Okay, I've talked enough about the infomercial, and I would like to encourage you all to come. I know we just had contact in the desert, and everyone's excited about the secret space program and the government disclosure process, which will never happen, and all of the mess involved in the political aspects of just telling people the gosh darn truth. Well, at my conference, we're doing something different, folks. We don't speculate. We have real contactees with face-to-face encounters. Raymond Keller got to live on Venus for 2.5 months. And there's a series of stories that would just boggle your mind right now. By the time this comes out, we're going to be on the Jimmy Church radio show here in a couple of days, he and I, and we'll be sharing that information. So you can get this show. It's going to come out after that probably, but you can check it out. Now I'd like to talk about 2 of the most stalwart light workers I know. One of my oldest friends, and I want to call him a colleague, but I'm not up to his level. His name is Dr. Len Horowitz. The man is a Harvard, Rutgers educated a genius who's an octopus on the computer. He creates and manifests. He writes books. He writes articles. He writes papers. And he's on the forefront of fighting a lot of negative stuff. And I'll give you a brief history of him. He wrote the book AIDS and Ebola, Nature, Accident, or Intentional, many years ago. And I met him on his 40th birthday party. I went up to Long Beach with my dear friend and mentor, Fred Bell, or the late Fred Bell. And there was Len, and I think it was a small Irish bar there in Long Beach. And I got to meet him and his kids. Some of them were in strollers. And at the time, he had a wife named Jackie there. And became a close associate or follower of his stuff, listening to him with the Freedom Law School party. And I traveled, I was in I forget the situation, but I was in New York, and I was able to help him out in Toronto, and I've always admired him greatly. And then I found out he was in Laguna during the swine flu scare, and I kind of glommed onto him, and we did the World Water Healing Blessing. I helped arrange a group of locals with booths, and we did a conference, a pre event to do the blessing of the water. At the same time, there were events in various parts the next day around Los Angeles and around the world with Masaru Emoto and many others for a worldwide water blessing. his websites, he's got a lot of them, and I'm going to let him tell you what they are. But he's joined by his partner, Sherry Kane, and they have been working tremendously, rapidly, and voraciously to fight a lot of the deep state false flag operations and information. And he's got a lot of personal challenges when you start bucking the beast, but he's got so much positive healing information. He can share that. He can share some of the other stuff too, but he's got a lot of things coming up, some shows and some events, and he's living in Vegas now. So I'm going to welcome Sherry and Lynn. I'm welcoming you to the show here. Oh, and Sherry, you can tell she was a broadcast journalist at, I want to say NBC or ABC for a short time, but you now work closely with Lynn. What you guys been up to? Welcome to the Victor of Light Show.
Well, thanks, Rob. Yeah, Sherry's basically indisposed at the minute, so I'm going to have to take the show. Is that okay with you?
No problem, absolutely. I heard her in the background there, and
yeah, we just got done the Health Healing Happiness Expo, and we're really just in recovery mode, man. There's so much like tying up of the loose ends that need to happen. So Sherry is just swamped, and she's just like really, we're both inundated, just totally swamped. But I love you, and I miss you, and I look forward to seeing you. And you are right. We are colleagues, and we go back. We're friends. I mean, you go through life, there's very few people that you can say, this person is a real friend of mine. And I say that to you, Rob Potter.
Well, thank you, Len Horowitz. An honor. I've always dropped your name when people talk about vaccinations, and there's really no better book. You had some amazing spiritual experiences in your recovery, and I said, how'd you get all this? And you said you followed the money. So your research is tremendous. What is your passion now? Most people don't know that, but you help to reveal the actual healing codes in the Book of Numbers through your gentleman in Idaho who passed away, Joy Puello, had a real angelic contacts, and you uncovered the Solfeggio code, or the secrets of the lost chord, so to speak, and are giving us a new sound frequency and many other things. What would you like to talk about?
Well, you hit it right on the head, Rob. What's my passion right now is to do whatever I can in service to the Creator and humanity, those who have ears to hear and eyes to see, the facts, the truth, the reality versus the deception, to bring on 1,000 years of world peace. And it's actually Revelation 3:6-8 and Isaiah 22:22 heralds a key of the house of David that opens doors that no man can open and closes doors that no man can close. And a sixth angel from the city of Philadelphia, brotherly love, is associated with the support for heralding that key, which is a musical note. And that's the musical note of love, 528. So basically that's my passion right now is, whatever life that I have left. I'm 66. I feel like, my time is limited on this planet at this point. And, this interesting thing is we all have to come to terms with our mortality. And the reality is that we can do that gracefully, or we can do that like idiots. And so I'm just preparing, over the next if I have 20 years left, to see this project to fruition to the best of my ability against all odds. I mean, we're really looking at a David and Goliath story. Like you mentioned, the persecution, prosecution, diversion that the deep state has administered to destroy me, destroy my reputation, destroy my companies, destroy my family, destroy everything that they could possibly destroy. They have attempted and actually have been fairly effective in destroying. And yet, the old saying is, if the Creator is for you, who can stand against you? So where there's a will, there's a way. And where the Creator has a will to fulfill prophecy, and every native on the face of this planet, every Aboriginal has prophetic background. Their heritage is prophesying that 1,000 years of world peace shall come. And as my colleague, Dr. Melissa Yee, has stated in the new trailer to our new film and the film itself that the question becomes, yes, we'll get the land back, we'll get Mother Earth back, but in what condition? And so that's really, we have a new film out, just came out. As a matter of fact, this is the first show I've even talked about it on. It's called Spacegate, the militarization of sacred Mauna Kea, which is the Big Island's big volcanic erupting mountain that's actually erupting in my neighborhood right now. We basically assign the blame to the lack of righteousness in the administration of the Puna geothermal project, which blasted the layers of the lava rock in the East Rift Zone. And so now we have this volcanic corruption happening, destroying homes, and have displaced now, I think, about 10,000 people and have destroyed about 250, 300 homes. And ours, you can actually see the steam vent in on the map of the GPS, the geological survey maps. On the maps, you can see the rift of lava flowing. So, Rob, I know I've spoken to you before about this land is sacred, and the Hawaiian estate that they stole from us is sacred, and Mother Earth is sacred, and is not going to sit by while you have such gross corruption. There's karma, there's judgment due, and we're living in a universe that is administered via righteousness, via laws, via a musical mathematical matrix of divine design, of universal creation that is absolutely highly intelligent. And that when you go up against that, you have a short life. You really do. You're going to pay the dues, and it's going to come back, whatever negative karma. And I know you know this. I'm preaching to the choir, but for those who are listening, it's what I've had to deal with. Sherry has had to deal with. My family has had to deal with, and many of my friends who I consider my friends. You, Rob, you have known persecution. You have known defamation. Our wonderful friend, Fred Bell, was a dear, dear friend of ours. And he, in my opinion, I know you disagree, in my opinion, he was taken out because of the very, very substantive, very important focus on largely what our new film is about. He was looking at death rays. He was looking at psychotronic weapons and warfare and the use of frequencies in frequency warfare, virtually holy war. And that's what this is. And so we make that point in the new film, Spacegate, because it's interesting that very few people realize the threat of artificial intelligence, that civilization is on the verge of not just extinction because of poisoning, but literally being taken out by robotoids. And that's very interesting that those people who are developing these technologies are also developing the fuel cells for laser weapons and warfare and drones, weaponized drones. And the Big Island is erupting and purging itself right now of this kind of energy, this atrocity. And these are the same players that over and over again we see are responsible for the mass murders, the mass shootings, the slayings, the psyops, the psychological operations, the false flag events. And yes, people are dying. It's not just a false flag in the sense that it's contrived to produce a psychosocial impact and control civilization, or socially engineer a response that the deep state multinational corporate directors who are in bed with Satan, virtually this is real evil, and they have a group that administers this very clearly. They plan it, and it's administered. The atrocities and the genocides go on and on. We can talk about the genocides in Amazonia. We can talk about the genocide against the native people in Australia. We can talk about the genocide that occurred in the Opium Wars in China.
And Myanmar right now.
Oh, Rob, you just your sound quality was
Oh,
distorted.
oh,
Yeah.
Myanmar also is a spot going through some big changes right now.
Yeah, I can barely understand the garbled nature of your speech.
Uh-oh. I've been hearing you. What? Am I still garbled?
Yes, horribly.
Okay, I'm going to call you back. Okay, folks. Or I'm going to ask my sound editor to switch this one file out here. I think that's going to be John or Chris. If you could just sort this out, and we're cut off from before when I came in and Len couldn't hear me. Yeah, Len, so one of the other areas, of course, is Myanmar. So this type of negative destruction and the horrendous plans of these negative people continues to run rampant. Your land there is really beautiful. I've heard about the geothermal thing. It is an active volcano. It probably didn't take much, but when you start messing even a little bit with Mother Nature in a fragile condition like that, you can exacerbate the situation. There's probably some big changes ahead for the Pacific Ocean, where Lemuria used to be. There's what they call the Ring of Fire from when that continent sunk. So there's a lot of volcanic activity taking place, and we've been told by the guides in South America that there will be some changes that are going to bring about this righteousness that you speak about, this peace, and this new dispensation. It's an energetic challenge that people are facing, to focus and to worry about the negativity and all this negative stuff, and to raise your vibration. So my suggestion is that you look at that stuff, become aware of it, be wise as a serpent. At the same time, we need to through sound, light, and color, and our own God consciousness, manifest the I am, or the God presence, into ourselves and coalesce into form, the higher complex neurohormonal structures that come with a healthy body. I know that you've got the Oxy Silver, which, by the way, folks, is available on my website. I'm one of his affiliates on his website. Why don't you talk about, you probably got 10 websites now, or you got so much stuff going on. Why don't you share with audiences the websites and different things that you got going on there?
Yeah, well, thanks, Rob. Yeah, I completely agree with you. The solution is in the music. It's in celebrating the music of love. It's frequency 528. That's what's in Oxy Silver. That's what makes it totally unique, as like the first nutraceutical in the world that was designed to be used with prayer, because your heartfelt loving intention in faithful prayer produces miracles. And 528 is the miracle frequency of the original solfeggio musical scale. So it works hand in hand. And that's why if you look at oxysilver.com, for example, you'll read all these testimonials from all these users internationally that are saying that it cured all sorts of diseases. And the only explanation for that really is that they are literally working with a holy water. It's holy water. It's a frequency resonance of power, the Holy Spirit power. There's nothing missing, nothing broken in the kingdom of heaven. And that is inundated with the Holy Spirit power of love. And so you bring that into your own temple, your own body temple. And there's no disease. There's no pathology that can resist it. It's power that overpowers the diseases. And so Oxy Silver is a double superconductor of that, because it has silver, which is a superconductor, and it has water, which is the base, of course, and that's liquid God. If you really study the Bible and you really study what's, kind of like everything from sacred geometry, you realize, when God said to Moses that part of his name is the Tetragrammaton, and the water was there in Genesis 1:1 and 1:2 already, then gee whiz, you've got to figure that water is a liquid crystal superconductor of sound and light. And that's really the musical mathematical matrix of sound and light that we're now have revelation about, and we can celebrate, and we can even use it in our music. So we also launched 528radio.com. You can listen to 12 genres of different now music, everything from classic rock to jazz and country and Christian and hip hop. You can start to listen, to various stations, and it's all been transposed into the frequency of love. So it's medicinal music. It's not just enjoyable music, and it's what it should be. We should be living a life that heals us. We should be living a life that heals each other, that helps each other. And so that's what, we're committed to. And, our last breath will be still doing the same thing, praying for and working towards the goal of living with world peace, 1,000 years of it.
Oh, sorry, I was muted there. Yeah, well, it's definitely what we need to do, and it's so simple. So, people think it's so complex, and I know you're, some people call a Messianic Jew. I don't like to put things in there. You're a seeker of truth. You recognize revelation of Yehoshua, and your lineage goes back to David there. So you're a powerful force for truth, and it seems like when we separate and divide and all these different things going on here, we get into trouble. If we can look at each other person as the creator and have that type of respect, because it really is true, even though it's obscured by negativity, darkness, it could be a murder and everything. The soul light comes from the creator. It is our responsibility and our choice to make the right decision in our life and to go forward. So we get so complicated, so wrapped up in the material world and all the things that we think are so important. And it really comes down to, are we being nice and kind to others and those in our environment? And we need to develop, one of the Venusian things I'll be sharing at my conferences, the secret science of ascension as taught by the Venusians. And they are very much into developing the mental or life force. We're aware of the electronic or the matter life force, which they call, the electron. And then you have the vitrons, which is the power of your thought. So us as a divine being, a multidimensional, physical shell of complex chemical composition and everything, really relates to this life force and this auric energy field. You've written a book, I think it was Death in the Air. I mean, your scientific knowledge and the background of frequencies and attenuation and resonance is very deep. What are some of the things, you've written a book, Healthy Celebrations. What are some of the things that people can do on a daily basis? A cap full of oxysilver can help with the viruses and stuff. You've got healing celebrations, listening to good sounds. What can we do? What is the way out of it for the average humanity who's waking up, sees the craziness, wants to put their head back into sound, but wants to become involved in something positive? They're not a speaker. They don't want to go around telling their friends about the deep state and the directed energy weapons, but they want to bring about a healthy change. How do they do that? What are your websites, and what do you recommend for people?
Well, the best book is the Book of 528, Prosperity Key of Love. And that's on CureShoppe, CureShoppe.com. And also, if you go to healthyworldnews.com, you'll be signed up for our free newsletter, and you'll also get a free password for a free viewing, so you don't have to pay per view for our latest film, which is called Spacegate. So the recommendations that I make in the book, Healing Celebrations, and that's subtitled Miraculous Recoveries Through Ancient Scripture, Natural Medicine, and Modern Science, deals with what we were just talking about. The fact is that you have a Holy Spirit-filled temple that's full of water, that approximately 80% of your body is full of liquid God. And so whether you're a woman, you're a goddess, and whether you're a man, you're God. You're a brother and sister, and you're exactly what Yeshua, what Jesus' real name in Hebrew was Yeshua, what Jesus was preaching about was this whole concept that we are the children of the Creator, and we have that power within us. and we could walk on water. We could do miracles. We could perform miracles. We can heal and sustain and basically purge get thee behind me, Satan, get rid of all of the negativity on the planet if we tune into the truth about who we are as superhumans. We're not just, like you mentioned, we are dumbed down. We're not just dumbed down, mind-controlled slaves of the Illuminati. So the first reality is that and here's the best definition, to begin to think about what can you do practically to enhance your life, the quality of your life, freedom from pain, freedom from depression, freedom from anxiety. How do you get into fitness in physical, mental, emotional, social, and then administer environmental as well as social interaction that is sustainable and is uplifting spiritually and engaged in love. That's the whole mission of the Book of 528 and 528radio.com. And the practical applications begin with understanding music and understanding that you are a digital. You're a digital, that means you're a mathematical. You're a digital entity. You're a digital, mathematical, musical, mathematical, bioholographic. That's biology and holography. Everybody knows what a hologram is. Well, you're a biological hologram that's manifesting in a quantum space right now, quantum dimension. And so you're a digital bioholographic precipitation, like rain falls, like from around one molecule of H2O, of water, you suddenly have a raindrop that falls out of the sky, it precipitates. You are like that. We are like that. You're a digital bioholographic precipitation, crystallization. You're a crystallization of love. And you can go into the science of protein crystallography. You can see that every protein in your body is a crystal. And water, 80% of your body, is a liquid crystal. So you're a digital bioholographic precipitation, crystallization, miraculous manifestation. And why I say miraculous is because the 528 frequency is the miracle frequency. The key of the House of David is the miracle note. So that's what is literally administering you miraculously into the sacred geometry of organic chemistry.
Yeah, well, yeah, this beautiful scientific explanation that you've given there, it sounds complex, but it really comes down to, the wonder and the miracle of creation. For many people, God is dead. Unfortunately, the deceiver, or whatever, the dark force that some people want to call it, deep state, the AI, the Yabbledoth, the entire complex of ignorance that around this planet has destroyed and taken away the culture of humanity, of its remembrance of who it was and where it came from. And if we combine that with the long-term power elite hungry ones throughout the ages, whether they be kings and kings, crucifying people because you don't believe in something they believe in, or whether they're just hiding something for their own greater gain of finances and control, humanity does not understand the nature of eternity. We have to enter into the silence, become one with the Creator, and realize that when you look, my life and nothing's happened, I've never seen truth. Well, how long have you abided in the truth? If you want the truth, you need to abide in the truth. So we need to be patient, we need to be humble, and we need to realize that God is going to organize and rebuild this planet according to his divine will. And this long-term suffering and the negativity is really the result of our own thinking. We can talk about chemtrails, we can talk about nuclear bombs, we can talk about radiation, we can talk about genetically altered foods, but what the real cause is mankind's thinking and his ignorance of universal spiritual laws and the ability to tune in to the God presence. And this is one of the areas, and this is where my fascination with our space brothers come from. It's not only my own experiences, but from realizing that a lot of the information that's coming forward is very down to earth. You mentioned all the different areas of the Venusian science to a healthy life, which is you have a mental life. You must grow mentally. You have a social life. You must have interaction with others. You must have what they call a service-oriented life, we call financial, where you are providing a service to your fellow man, your community, and your livelihood is taken care of. That can be changed into a new system. We also have a health. You get up in the morning, you do your healthy celebrations, and you take care of things. And then, of course, you have to have a spiritual relationship. So those things that you actually listed off are part of a balanced life. And if we get too involved in one area, too social, and we don't have enough livelihood, or we get too into health to become a musclehead or something, it's recommended a balance. So what you've talked about is something so simple. If we can just open our eyes and prepare our mental condition for better lack of the term, for those of you who have problem with religious terms, Lord or God, there is a plan here, and we are all instruments of that plan, and it's our ability to tune in to the inner voice that's going to allow it to manifest. Len, I keep asking, let's talk about the websites. What are the names of the websites? Where do you want people to go where they can check out your stuff and see where you're into? Ladies and gentlemen, you got tons of books.
Well, sure. The simplest one to connect to the 528, of course, is 528 Radio. You can, that's 528radio.com. And then if you want to transpose your music for free, go to 528records.com. And that remasters your music and puts the music that's been recorded in the dissonant frequency of A440 hertz, which was established by the Rockefeller Foundation in 1938 after acoustic weaponry research and development. So basically, the degeneration of society, we can solve that problem by simply retuning our instruments and our voices and our positive, loving intention to do just that, to have healing, to have a society that operates according to laws, and that's basically whether man's law should reflect Creator's law, and that's another website that we've advanced. JudicialCorruptionNews.com is kind of like our effort to bring about a realization that without the justice system operating according to the laws and the rules of the justice system, we have chaos. And that's what we're witnessing when we tune on, television today. And we're seeing the Justice Department is being called to task by the Trump administration for the crime and multiple crimes. So we also have another website that is 528revolution.com. If you want to get engaged in a full understanding and you can't afford the book of 528, which is my recommendation, I urge you to get that. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. And that's at cureshop.com, CURESHOPPE.com. But if you just want to start to feed yourself with the information for free, go to 528revolution.com and start reading. And there's probably a couple hundred articles up there dealing with every aspect of 528 and how we can basically and look forward to and celebrate the integration of righteousness, of love, of the frequency resonance of that sustains us, that sustains the universe. And, that's on 528revolution.com. Then if you really want to engage the darkness, the dark side, which is important. It's important, as you mentioned, Rob, because you have to be able to diagnose a problem before you can treat it. And so if we're going to treat the problem of dissonance and evil and injustice, what we need to do is recognize who's administering it. And so waronwethepeople.com deals with virtually every aspect, from the highest levels of the shadow government and the genocides that they're administering, to the grassroots levels, the organizations of activists that are frauds that have tainted the social media with their garbage to defame heroes. We have also a wonderful, wonderful resource for education called revolutiontelevision.net. Well, what happened was we got canned. We got censored by Google, YouTube, of course, because they're heavily administering the deep state's agenda through programming. That social engineering takes place via Google, YouTube, largely, and Facebook, and they're both in bed with the demons. And so we were censored. Wikipedia likewise. My website and Wikipedia was pulled down in 2014, a couple of weeks before the Ebola outbreak, the Ebola emergency, because I'm one of the leading experts in the world, and I published the book Emerging Viruses, AIDS, and Ebola, where we showed the government contracts under which the Ebola-like viruses were bioengineered. So the website waronwethepeople.com goes into every aspect of the deep state's manipulation, their protection racket. They're in fear. They're not in faith. Their whole enterprise, their commercialization and genocidal operation is contingent upon fear. And they project that fear onto society. That's what the news is about. Pain, fear, loss, real or imagined threats to survival is the substance of the evening news. So if you understand that, okay, who's administering it and for what purpose? Now you get into the greed, you get into the arrogance, and that's what's really associated with trauma and fear and pain. And that's what the demons have literally been administering Babylon, planet Earth, given that agenda. Their hearts are closed, their egos are in hyperdrive, and that is what we diagnose. And the purpose, again, is to cure it, is to remedy it. And so we've got to look at it. And I'm of the opinion that unless we come to terms with the darkness, we can't achieve optimal enlightenment. We've got to understand the darkness. We've got to understand who's administering it. We've got to understand it so that we can treat it. And that's part of our mission, and that's why we have dealt with our ministry. And you mentioned that I'm a Levitical priest. My bloodline goes back to David and Solomon. My Hebrew name is Arya ben Shlomo Halevi. That's Lion of God, son of Solomon. My father was son of Solomon. His father was son of Solomon. It goes back to King Solomon. And that whole Davidian responsibility, I mean, you talk about going up against Goliath, that's exactly what we're doing here. But we have full faith that that's our mission, that's our purpose, that's what, a drive in life. And so, we go up against the deep state, the darkness in waronwethepeople.com. And I think we do a pretty good job. Now, there's one other new website, brand new. Rob, you will love it. I know that you're staunchly opposed to vaccination, intoxication, and death by injection. And so we actually took Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's website, and we turned it into a wonderful website that exposes the truth about vaccines, and it's called exposingvaccinegenocide.com. That went up a couple weeks ago. Exposingvaccinegenocide.com is outstanding resource for waking people up. And let's see, there's a vaccine section on revolutiontelevision.com. Of course, we have the old tetrahedron.org website that has a vaccination section and educational materials there. We have healingcelebrations.com website is still up, giving good advice. And gee whiz, I think that pretty much covers it. I probably left one or two out. But
you certainly have enough there. And I just went to the website of vaccines. That was kind of one of the things. And, in the broader terms of things, when you're looking and exposing that stuff, it's good to know it, look at it, understand it. Don't go into fear. Maintain positive and to find solutions. and to help people raise their vibration, especially those people that are doing this. We have to kind of ignore them and quarantine them because no one can change someone but themselves. And unfortunately, if we can bring to bear the truth around these people, hopefully some of them can move beyond their egos and the negative programming that's taking place and to begin to put down and not be part of these systems. I have to say there's elements within the police force and the military, although well-intended, very brave individuals that are moving off of their chosen task and are becoming tools of corporate elites for plundering the planet and plundering the populace and instilling fear through negative rules. Now, you talk about the rule of law. Well, in other worlds, they don't have to guess. They don't have faith. They actually know. They walk in concert with the Creator because they live in harmony with the Creator. And there are no laws because people are telepathic and the higher vibrational gifts of the Creator are there, so that people do not violate the golden rule of doing unto others. Why would you do something that would hurt someone else if you truly realize that, that you're part of them? And on a quantum level, when we go into that, and I'll probably talk a little about that at the conference, but I'm an armchair physicist with Dr. Fred Bell, getting a lot of some of the basic concepts in my mind. But I don't have the math, but I can tell you that everything is connected. That's how synchronicity works. That's how the Creator works. And that if you doubt God's ability to create, sky into earth and earth into sky, you're missing the point and showing that you're too limited. So that's how we're going to get past this, through individual responsibility of our own vibrational attainment, at the same time not to fall into this negativity. And it's a slippery slope. I know people, myself included, when we were working there on the swine flu and all that stuff, you're just reading about all the negativity and the lies, and it's murder. And you think of the innocent children and the innocent administrators and nurses around the world who believe that vaccinations are good for you. And I guess I don't want to beat a dead horse too much, but tell us what's on the forefront. It seems like they're never-ending vaccinations and things going on. What's happening in the world of vaccinations? I know that a couple of years ago we had a rash of doctor deaths, including the great Andrew Molden and some other doctors. Although I'm seeing a little bit more of numbers, mainstream kickback amongst doctors with vaccinations. And of course, privately, they admit some of the dangers. Where are we now with the vaccinations? I just saw a march in Poland. It must have been 10 to 15,000 people protesting enforced worldwide vaccinations. We know this is their plan. I know they're not going to get away with it. It's a wet dream, but where are we in different areas of the world with forced vaccinations, and what do you see coming up here with that?
Well, it's interesting you just mentioned the Polish folks. I just heard from them 2 days ago, and they've invited me to come to Poland to speak. So probably I'll be in Poland in about a month speaking to that group. I've got a presentation coming up also in Amsterdam in a few weeks. We haven't even advertised that yet. We've got to get that up on the website. But in terms of like what we're recommending, and I completely agree with you that this whole concept of ourselves, we being spiritual beings first before we're physical beings, and that's the essence of the law. It's like going back to the Garden of Eden. The whole concept at that point, before the fall of man, is that we're in this together. We're in communion, divine, with the Creator. And we wouldn't even think about man's laws if we're being that way. Well, that is, in my opinion, it's kind of like you're in bliss. You're in the zone. Your mind is not engaged in fear, doubt, questioning reality. You're just being, pure being. And so one immunization that we have created based on the understanding of the physics and the metaphysics and the electromechanics of frequency dynamics. is a new product that you'll love, Rob. It's called CBD 528. And we're advancing it as a remedy for the opioid crisis. You know, people are suicidal and they're depressed because they're addicted to these pain meds. And so we've advanced a concept of what's called spirit remedies and homeoalchemy, because alchemy is the shifting of electrons in orbitals to create new elements and new types of signatures of energy signatures that the electrons administer when they're orbiting in different levels of the atoms. So this whole concept that homeopathy, which relies on water memory, and if you combine that and structure the water, you hold the memory fantastically. And then when you add the silver in oxysilver to the water, which bonds to water, which creates a whole new molecule, a silver oxygen, an oxysilver molecule, you're now dealing with alchemy. So we've advanced this whole concept, a new industry called homeoalchemy, and we're at advanced. The first launch is Spirit Remedies, which includes CBD, 528 resonance, and some Bach flowers to put us in the zone. So you take CBD 528, you take 3 drops of it under the tongue 3 times a day for 9 days, and it puts you through this incredibly powerful kind of like review and then purging of any neurotic pattern that puts you out of the zone. You get rid of it. You purge the negativity in your own process to reestablish that harmony, that basic fundamental divine connection, that peace of mind, that, you know, that shalom, the peace that is brought by the breath, the prana, the breath of life that is resonating in love, 528. And so that's part of this whole concept, the chlorophyll, and this is one of the most magnificent revelations that humanity is going to be blessed with for sure now over the next many years, as we've already started to have a snowballing effect in the music industry and in natural medicine with 528 frequency. This whole concept that chlorophyll that sustains us produces all the oxygen. So whether it's from the algae of the oceans producing the oxygen, it's greenish yellow color, as well as the plant world, its blood is greenish yellow, which is your heart chakra color. So this vortex of your heart is connected to the divine source through the breath, the prana. And that's, of course, how, go back to Genesis, and that's how the Creator got Adam and Eve off the ground, breathed the breath of life into them. So this concept that chlorophyll is greenish yellow, it's vibrating at the heart of sunshine, the heart of the rainbow, and it is then putting out oxygen with the electron of love, I call it, that's vibrating in that specific 528 frequency. And that's what sustains us. Now, what we did with CBD 528 is combined the therapeutic value of the hemp extract called CBD. And it's very expensive. We produced, instead of an expensive product, we produced for $20 a product that can heal many people, and it'll last probably a single person well over a year because they only have to use a few drops of it and begin to feel and then establish being in the zone, being in that pure, clear head, and just simply being at peace with joy in your heart. So that's the Bach flowers essences of gorse, olive, wild rose that we added to CBD homeopathic. And so, in other words, there's no CBD in it. It's just got the energy signature of CBD. And people would say, oh, well, then it's not too powerful. Then it's not really going to take away my pain. Hogwash. It certainly will, because, again, it values
the fact that you are a spiritual being first before you're a physical being. It's based on the understanding that you are a water body, that you are a holy child of the Creator. You know, water, liquid, God is filling your body. And what happens is when you administer to that water body, which water is, again, a liquid crystal superconductor of sound and light. And when you administer to that water body the frequency resonance of love, which is the universal healer, and then you specifically put into that same message pain relief, depression relief, and renewal of joy and harmony and balance and success, because you deserve to be successful. We all deserve prosperity in all ways. That's the promise of the Creator to those who are faithful and loving and engaged in what you mentioned, Rob, the service of humanity as the mission, as really the purpose in life. And so when we have the resonant energy signature of these values in CBD 528, we see people now taking it and they're experiencing what I'm talking about. So think about substituting all the poisonous medicines that are not just poisoning people, but the environment too. And then you realize that we have an alternative. And this is a vaccination. It's an immunization against ignorance. It's an immunization against disease or dis-ease. It's an immunization against degenerative frequencies that are coming at us all around us, from the news to the music. And so we get out of that insanity. We, like Yeshua, like Jesus said, come out of her, my people, lest ye be infected by her plagues, her insanity, hypocrisy. You know, we come out of that. And where do we go? You asked about practical application. CBD 528 is a wonderful example of that. You practically apply the truth in homeopathy and alchemy and spirituality and the metaphysics of creating miracles through medicine. And that's essentially what we've been doing, Rob.
Well, that's good. I really appreciate that, especially the CBD thing. I also, I've been utilizing that. I have some nerve issues, and I'm restoring some trauma stuff going on me. So I do take the CBD on my outer body, and I'll have to try the homeopathic aspect of that.
Yeah, CBD 528. We'll send you some. You'll love it.
Oh, that's sweet. That's great. I really appreciate that. Folks, I'm going to get a bottle of CBD 528, and I'll mention, see what kind of results we get. I do have some nerve damage. So you're hearing, folks, Len has a tremendous variety of information. And when you go to his websites, I've just been looking over the vaccination one here, War on We the People. I think I got switched to that, but I was looking at the other one, the vaccine genocide. But lots of information there. You can always check it out. And, I think that if you will take it all and use it as ammunition of truth, and that realize that the challenges facing us are systematic and planetary wide, and it has to do with our orientation. And we can't shove this information down people's throat, or demand they understand this religion or that religion. We talk about different things. The Bible was written by man, inspired by God, and there's some very powerful prophecies in there and some information, but it has to be interpreted correctly. A lot of stuff has been taken out. So for us to understand the ancient history of the earth and not have it relegated to myth, we need to uncover the new truth. And that's what's happening now with some of this divine intervention of the Galactic Space Brothers, who are already in harmony with God's law, wishing to share with us how we too can raise our vibration up and come into this positive state. And it's not just getting blissed out and ignoring the world. It's about being balanced in all things. So I'm really glad that we're able to talk today. we had a little sound glitch in there that my sound guy's going to take care of, and I want to thank you for everything that you're doing for the planet and the people these days. It's really important. I feel that your work is getting out there, and I'm looking forward to hearing of the results of your European tour. That's good. You're getting out across the planet here and spreading the message. So I guess thank you so much for coming on the air, and we'll be in touch soon.
Great, Rob. Thank you. God bless, bro.
All right. Thank you very much.